And we are live. Good evening, everyone. How you doing, boys?
Evening. Good, mate.
Evening.
Yeah,
good.
Mate. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Sorry, he's running a couple of minutes late there. Still waiting for Nicky. He'll join in a minute. But yeah, it's Friday night. It's that time of the week. Goes so quick, doesn't it? Like before you know it, you're going to, well, I'm back at work now. So you wake up in the morning, you go to work, and then before you know it, it's Friday night and you're having a nice little beer with the boys. I've gone for Moretti tonight.
Back in the jank days.
Budweiser for me.
I was going to go spirit level. I was going to go spirit today. I was going to whip out a Jack Daniels, but I thought, no, do you know what? I fancy a beer.
Nah.
Moretti today. Moretti.
I do like to drop the Moretti.
Nah, I was bang on the rhubarb and grapefruit gin last night, so I'll give the spirits a swerve.
Sounds
right,
a bit cheeky.
let's just get this out of the way because I think we're going to have this a lot tonight. Graham, who done your hair?
My missus actually, she's done a decent job. I think she was a bit disappointed. She'd done a decent job, to be honest. I think she wanted to.
I've got a question. I've got a question, Graham. Are they your pants hanging on your wardrobe behind you?
Yeah, no, look, it's a dress. It's my wife's dress.
All right, fair enough. I'm disappointed now. I thought that'd be hilarious. You fucking hung your pants on the hanger.
I always want to see your
pants live in the drawer, not hanging on the wardrobe.
But anyway, tonight we ain't really got a topic. We thought we'd just go with because last week we missed a few questions out and we felt a bit guilty after when we spoke off there. So tonight we're just going to do a live Q&A. Ask us anything. So anyone in the chat that wants to ask us literally anything football related or anything you want to ask, really, just go for it. You got us for the next hour and a half. So
is that my pants hanging up behind me? No.
According to Atmos chat, you're cross dressing. Yeah,
Graham cross dressing after tonight's stream. Hello.
Nah, only on Saturdays.
Oh yeah.
Treat yourself, Graham. A day earlier.
I've got the pictures, Gray. I've got the pictures of you.
We're not going to talk about that.
But yeah, I mean, has anyone messaged Nicky? Does he know it's Friday 7:30?
I'll message him now. I'll put it in the
search party.
Yeah, it'll be in the chat in a minute. So let's kick off with a couple of questions. 3 Hammers are in the room. Great channel. Subscribe to them if you don't already. Who do you think will be our top perform when the season returns? Looking forward to seeing more of Bowen. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think Bowen was just sort of coming into his stride.
Finding his feet, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he got his first goal against Southampton. He's looked good in the games that he's played, and he's definitely a player that I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
Yeah, I'd say Bowen.
I agree. Yeah, like I say, he was finding his stride, wasn't he? Looking good, because not only did he score the goal, but he was looking like he was setting people up as well for chances, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like he's going to create a few chances as well as score a few.
Amma's chatter in the room. Gio, another great channel. Ryan, how's your perspective of football returning after you've been back at work? Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Gio the other day about this, funny enough, and as I was saying to you off camera, at the moment, with everything that's going on, I mean, match days, I miss meeting up with all you boys and other people that I see at the football and going for a beer. And at the moment, I'm not really
football itself.
I'm not really missing it that much. Maybe it might change with the German football coming back this weekend, but with what's happened today with League Two, basically finishing their season, no one goes down, 3 get promoted, playoff will still happen. That's going to have a knock-on effect for obviously all the leagues. So that could be the start of it all happening through League One, Championship, and the Premier League as well.
A lot of questions about that German league
as well. National League will suffer as well, won't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because if League Two ain't doing no relegations, then there'll be no promotions from the league below. So that's a massive blow, isn't it, for few teams? Philip Dimacoli, Football Factory or Green Street?
Football Factory.
I'm going to go Football Factory. I do like Green Street.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Green Football Factory's Chelsea, isn't it? That's about Chelsea for a minute.
Yeah, Chelsea, Millwall, West Ham get a mention.
I think I'll have to go with Green Street just because it's about West Ham, despite the dodgy accent.
Right, here's one here. Looks like it's for me, WHFTV fan. Do you think on Masuaku on the occasion of the last game he played? That's for Ryan. Do you know what, mate? I can't even remember how he played. I can't even remember how West Ham played in our last game. It was Arsenal away, wasn't it? Funny enough, Masuaku for me, if we go back to the season, like when we previewed the season, I thought he was going to be one of my. I tipped him to be like my most improved player, and yeah. At the end of the day, I'd be sitting here to be unfair to him, really, because I think a lot of players have been poor this season.
Yeah, but he's been one of the worst, hasn't he? Let's be honest. He started brightly as well, but he's just I just don't know. I don't know where he fits.
I would just like to see him play out on the wing, and I suppose with Anderson being inconsistent at times, maybe he could have got a little bit more of a go out on the wing, really, rather than try and put him in left back where he's had.
We've been saying that for. Well, you know, like when he plays at left back, he's not a liability, but he looks like an accident waiting to happen, doesn't he?
I agree. I see him
when
more
he's on the wing. He looks dangerous going forward.
Yeah, I see him more as a winger.
Yeah,
and there is times where he gets the ball on the wing and he takes people on and whips across in, and you think, he looks like he's going to kick on from here, but then he just takes 2 steps back, doesn't he? So. We'll see. Hammer chat, waiting for the next Tetris block down on Scott's wall.
Oh yeah, it's a Tetris design.
What do you boys think about Harry Kane sponsoring Leyton Orient kit to help them out? Could West Ham players do that for teams in lower league to help them over the crisis? I mean, that is an unbelievable gesture from Harry Kane. You know, as he said yesterday, they give him his first professional start, and he's looking after him, and it's a great thing to do. And I'd love to see more, obviously, Premiership players do things like that. Whether West Ham players will, I don't know. It's a bit difficult, but
you've got to have
it'd be a nice gesture to do, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fair. I mean, fair play to Harry Kane on that. It's an unbelievable gesture, and I think there's obviously fans out there that he's got his Tottenham connections that hate Harry Kane and things like that, but. You got to take that aside and look at what he's done, and that's an unbelievable gesture from him.
Do you not think
that about Harry Kane? I've got the West Ham app on my phone. They've been showing all the old games on there, haven't they? And they had the 2012 game against Millwall. Remember when Nolan got sent off early?
Yeah.
I completely forgot Harry Kane played for Millwall.
Yeah.
But
breaks your heart, doesn't it?
But do you not think it's a bad, state of affairs, the fact that a Premier League footballer can sponsor a League 2 side? It just shows the ridiculous amount of money in the top end of the game compared to the lower level.
It shows more money needs to find its way down to the
one player can
national league.
Yeah.
I think there's a big disparity between the top and the bottom. I think more money needs to be finding its way.
Dean Felton, what trophy would you like to win if you was manager of West Ham and you're starting 11? Who would you want to play? For me, it's the FA Cup.
Yeah, got to be FA Cup.
And I mean, we can talk a little bit about the FA Cup because obviously this week it's been, last Sunday was 40 years since we last won the FA Cup. Obviously, Graham, you celebrated your 21st that day, wasn't it? And then obviously it was yesterday was 14 years ago that we lost the FA Cup final to Liverpool. And it's the FA Cup is massive for West Ham. It's
75 years since we won 75 as well.
Yeah.
I never, because I hear a lot of people say, what trophy would you like to see West Ham win and stuff like that. A lot of people say the FA Cup, and I get the romanticism of the FA Cup, but I don't understand why no one would answer flipping like the Champions League. Like if I was the manager for West Ham, I would love to win the biggest trophy of all for West Ham. And you imagine how that would elevate the club, could you imagine lifting being the manager to take West Ham to Champions League or Premier League or something.
I think the Premier League for a club like West Ham would be massive, you know, but I can't see that.
Yeah. No, but it's talking about what trophy would you like to what would you like? We're not talking about possibly. None of us are even going to manage West Ham.
My mate Lee Barron's in the room, big massive Arsenal fan. Brooklyn fell over. He's a massive Arsenal fan. There's a funny story about it because when he was younger, he used to live down the house he lived in. It was the only house down the road that was decorated in Arsenal, and all the rest were West Ham. And obviously, his dad was a massive Arsenal fan, and yeah, he was upset, Lee, when we beat him, and he still reminds me of that. All I say to him is, look, they've won it 13 times. Like, let
us have our moment.
Let's have one day.
Yeah, Nicky just messaged. He's had a power cut. He'll be in a minute. He's got to use his phone.
All right, mate. Ben Tor, who would be your dream West Ham manager? In today's game, I'd probably say Guardiola.
Yeah.
You got to look at you look at who's the best out there at the moment, and he certainly is the best, isn't he? You know, when you look at it.
I would like flipping what's his name? You know what? It's been so long since football's going on. I've forgotten all the people's name. No, Brendan Rodgers. Just for the fact of, if you look at Guardiola, I mean, I think he is a great manager, but there's question marks over if he can do it at West Ham. But maybe you got someone like Brendan Rodgers who could do a good job at West Ham because he had shitloads of resources. He's not done too bad with what he's been given at Leicester, but it's not on the level of Man City. So I think it might be a bit closer.
He got Leicester in the Champions League spots, didn't he? So that was up there, sticking around the Champions League. So
it's a good shout, Simeone. Yeah, do you know what? One thing I'm surprised with Simeone is you don't see him get linked to a lot of the big jobs, do you? But he's done an unbelievable job at Atletico Madrid. He's passionate. You see he's fiery on the touchline.
I think because he don't play the sexy football, I think that's why he's not one of the most desirable for when people pick their first choice.
This is one that's always station to station 3576. Di Canio, I would love. He would shake him up. Do you know what? I've always said this. Me personally, I understand the connections with Di Canio, but as a manager, I just don't think. I'd love to see him back at the club in some sort of way, but then again, if he's not given a chance, he can't prove it. But when West Ham were down the bottom, not last, do you know when we had Bilic, just before we got David Moyes in, I thought to myself then, I'd love to have seen Di Canio come in just to give the place a lift, because that's what sometimes a club needs. But
I thought he was a decent manager. When you look at it, I mean, obviously he took on Sunderland, which was a fucking tough job. And I believe, didn't he keep them up initially? Or help keep them up, and then he fell out.
Job at Swindon as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Swindon. He got them back-to-back promotions.
Yeah, he done a lot better at Swindon. I don't think his style, the way he manages, would have suited the Premier League or the players we got. To be honest,
do you remember when he was Sunderland manager and Sunderland beat Newcastle 3-0 at Newcastle, and he slid on his knees, and he's got no connections with Sunderland. But as a football man, the passion, and sometimes that's what you need as a manager. And it's a bit like when Bilic was first with us. When by the time Bilic left the football club, he was a broken man. But when he first come in, he was unreal, and he was a.
I'd like to see him take a job in the Championship and see how he gets on there. I think he's definitely go back to managing because I think he was good at it. Like I said, that's a poison chalice, Sunderland. And when you hear him talk, he's had a few interviews about what happened at Sunderland. You hear about it, you can see really a lot of it weren't his fault.
It's just but even when he was at Swindon, weren't he? He was having problems, different problems on the touch line and things like that. It's just that.
Herman Lindgren, Scott is so cute, handsome young man.
Definitely not young anymore.
I agree, Scott. You are a handsome young man.
I just think that the Premier League is a different kettle of fish to them La Leagues. You see a lot of managers succeed lower level and then can't cut it the higher they get. And I just think him coming to us would have been one of them that could have gone on to ruin the status that he's got amongst the fans.
This is a. I think Gio said it, but I can't scroll up. But Nick from Crossdammers, evening Nick and Charlotte watching. Nuno is a good call. I agree.
Yeah.
The Wolves manager, you know, but I think there's a bigger job for Nuno in the future. I think there's a top maybe. See, I thought he'd have been good for Arsenal. But obviously, Arsenal went down the Arteta road, and he was doing a good job before this lockdown. So, but yeah,
I like Nuno. He's a good manager, though.
I think he would have been a better appointment than Arteta. I don't think Arteta in the long run will work out. To be honest,
he's a good manager, but he's got a good board backing him. If you know what I mean, the board have bought into the plans that he wants to do.
Yeah.
And as we know with us, that's the big problem.
What about this one then? Bill Gardner, new manager, Carlton Leach number 2. I don't think there'll be any back chat in that change room, do you?
Jeez, can you imagine that? Bloody hell.
What about this one? Hang on. It's, I think Nicky's in the house somewhere, but he's blank, so I won't put him in yet.
Joshua Samuels, Fabianski, Ludo, or Big Phil Parks.
Here he is. He's loading.
Hello, mate. You all right?
He's bloody portrait. Look at him.
What's the matter, mate? You look tired.
Just woke up.
Wow. Been a bit of work today. We've got a power cut now, so brilliant.
That's all you need in the middle of a goddamn pandemic.
Goddamn.
Fabianski, Ludo, or Big Phil Parks. Graham, go on, mate.
Big Phil for me.
Yeah.
I'm torn there. It's a tough one. I'm going to go for Phil Parks as well, actually.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to go for. I never see Phil Parks play. I'm going to go for. Tough because I love Ludo, but I think Fabianski is a better. I'm going to go for Fabianski. Fuck it. Go on, I've had a beer. What have you?
Do you know what? I weren't alive for Phil Parks, but I met him and he was a proper gent. So I'm going to.
Dan, you're easily won over, mate. You're easily won over.
I am. Ludo never, took a picture with me.
That's what we need to do. Get Ludo on here and have a go at him.
Nick?
Fabianski's better than Ludo. I'll never see Phil Parks, so I'm going to have to say Fabianski.
Yeah, Fabianski's a great goalkeeper. I know, how old is he? 34? Something like that. So he's probably got a good 2 or 3 years still at West Ham, but I wish he was 5 years younger.
I don't know. Keepers tend to go on for a bit longer, don't they? Then
they've got a lot more. You've only got to look at the likes of Schwarzer and players like that.
I remember.
Look, Friedel went on into his 40s, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, Nick. Do you remember that tournament at Upton Park after the bowling shot and I played in when you won that competition? Yeah. Phil Parks was there that day, and in one of the games I had to go and goal because we was changing around. And I saved a shot, bottom corner, tipped it around a post, and Phil Parks nodded at me, and I just thought, that's it, I've made it. I literally said, I don't care what happens from this point. And then literally after that, this geezer shot, and it went right through my legs, but Phil Parks weren't looking. He threw it out.
Didn't see it, it don't count.
No, it don't count.
Philip Dimokales asked a good question. He says, who's the most famous person you met who isn't sports related?
Oh, fuck, I have to remember now.
It isn't sports related.
Yeah.
Tough one.
It's a tough one because you have to fucking really think about that. Like,
I'll be honest with you, because I used to do a job back in early 2000s. There's quite a few for me. Quite a few. I once met Madonna.
Like, when you say met, I think you have to have exchanged at least like a couple words.
We exchanged words. She said hello. I said hello.
I'm probably going to go with. I'm going to say this is not sport. This is probably as an actor. I'm going to say Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
The Rock, yeah. I also
Ray
met
Winston.
Mick Jagger
Oh, bloody
at a concert. I nearly got stabbed over Mick Jagger.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell. Well,
What happened was I'll tell you exactly what happened. It was a Missy Elliott concert.
oh,
And I
right.
used to work on the door at the back of Brixton Academy.
Yeah.
And like it was sold out, packed out, like really packed. And what it was is a load of like a gang come to the academy, and they wanted to get in and they couldn't get in. And there was like a backstage door. So like if any like VIPs and things come through this backstage door, usually the backstage door. Anyway, someone turned up. I think it was Chris Martin from Coldplay, but early days.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know who it was at the time. And when we opened the door, they tried to rush the door, and one of them flashed a knife, like, and then we got another knock on the door because all this like kerfuffle was going on. Like, we got another knock on the door, and as we got another knock on the door, it was like I looked through the little peephole, and it was Mick Jagger, and like I was like, "It's Mick Jagger, man. We've got to let him in." Like, he's out there with all them people with knives and shit. So like, I've had to open the door, and as I opened the door, there was a geezer like trying to jab the knife at me. So I was like, I squeezed him in, and as I shut the door, he just went to me like, "Are you okay?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "Scary out there, man." Yeah.
Did he do his little walk into the room all over the gaff?
Yeah. Now, I think it was Denise from EastEnders. I met her when I was working at the Mobo Awards. There was loads of celebrities everywhere, but I didn't. Yeah, Denise from EastEnders. She was pregnant. I said, "Congratulations on your baby," and she went, "Cheers." And that was it. And then I shared a table with the girl who played her daughter at the time at the after party, and also had a good chat with Shaggy's manager. So other than that, I got to interview a famous reggae group that none of you would have heard of unless you're into reggae. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
My brother tried to pull Sonia Jackson at an Oasis concert.
Sonia, fucking hell.
Don't ask why.
Yeah.
Scott, didn't you share an Uber with Lily Savage once?
No.
You fucking liar.
I met Joe Swash coming out of a cab office. Remember that one years ago?
Joe Swash. I remember seeing Joe Swash outside Faces, and he was out of his nut. And he was just asking everyone, "Where's the kebab shop? Where's the kebab shop?" You know his little voice there. "Where's the kebab shop?" Fuck off, mate.
So I met Ray Winston. Ryan introduced me to him.
As you
Ray
do,
Winston,
Ray, you know.
And I met. Do you remember Bombhead out of Hollyoaks?
Bombhead.
I met Bombhead in McDonald's in Leeds.
Oh, fucking hell.
I met some of quite a few of the cast of Bad Girls as well.
Who?
Oh,
Bad Girls.
Yeah. Who was the one that was in EastEnders?
Shirley Carter.
Yeah. I met
She's still
her.
in it. She's still in it, Scott. Oh, fucking running. She's running the square, mate. She's working for Phil now.
Yeah, I met her because
I'll tell you that the most famous person in my eyes that I've ever met and thought he's the only person that's really I've gone starstruck with was the first time I met Mike Tyson, because I was just in awe of the geezer, because watching him as a youngster, I went to an event in Essex back in 2009. I remember we had the meet and greet VIP thing, and we was all in this room, and it was the night that David Hay fought Value F, and he won the world title. And I remember like everyone was in the room like in their suits drinking, and all of a sudden these doors opened and a little kid come running in, and it was like Mike Tyson's family walked in. Then Mike Tyson just walked in, and literally the room just went silent. You could hear a pin drop, and it was like you just stand there thinking, wow, Mike Tyson is like, gee, and it was unreal. And then I was lucky enough to meet him again in Las Vegas the other year. So for me, I dreamt of meeting him as a kid. But I tell you, Dan, you'd like this story. When the hotel I was staying in that night, Mike Tyson was actually in the room next to me. And when I went upstairs, I come out the lift and he was standing there with his security guard. So I got him to sign the photo that I had at the time. And I said to him, I was talking to him, funny enough, about wrestling. I said about when you did DX and that. And we was talking about it, and he started doing the DX sign to me. And I said to him, I'll never forget, and I swear on my daughter's life, I said to him, when are you going to rejoin DX? And he said, nah, man. And literally a month later, he was back on Raw with DX.
Bloody hell. Maybe you gave him the idea, and he
I
went.
think he already had that planned, but I like to think that I got DX back together, but whatever.
Yeah.
You just pushed it over the line.
Right, can you play that Marquez Gonzalez EM thing?
Eh?
See it? Marquez Gonzalez EM.
You've got a bit of an echo, Scott.
Hello?
Oh, you got it now.
Oh, no, it's all right then. Yeah, you're right now.
Oh, what, that one?
Yeah, playing that one.
Hello, Marquez. Scott not like you.
Please notice me. Please notice
Listen.
The spam.
Blocked him. He was asking for help with his live stream, but I was just about to say, like, you can't just keep on spamming the chat.
Well, we noticed him. So,
any more questions?
Feedback. Yeah, there's quite a few. Someone's.
This is a good one from Eddie. Do you wish Frank Lampard hadn't been treated badly by the fans, so he stayed with us longer? That's a good question, isn't it? Because as I've said before, as a youngster at the time, I could never understand the hatred towards Frank Lampard. Obviously, he had the connections with his dad as the assistant and his uncle as the manager. Some people thought he was getting priority over certain players. But from what I hear, and I remember going down the training ground at the time, Lampard was one of the hardest working players who would stay behind. And we all know he wasn't, like, people call him fat, but he wasn't fat. He was just, you know what I mean? But he worked hard, and there's no surprise he went to the very top and won everything in the domestic game.
It's funny because you don't see that sort of hatred towards our youngsters these days. Really, we have a lot of patience, and a lot of the time, they could just play shit for a while when you give them some time. But the sort of hate he got was a bit mad, like, really.
I think there was. I'll be honest with you. From what I remember, I think there was a bit. I think there was a bit of a. I think there was a bit of a underlying issue with some of the fans when he was young. If I'm honest, I think it was like they thought he was being favoritised. A lot of people didn't like him from the get-go. I'll be honest with you. In terms of playing wise, I liked him. I liked Lampard, but I didn't see the career he would have. You know what I mean? Like, when Chelsea picked him up for 11 million quid and he went on to do what he do, I've always said this. I thought they must have had some fucking real good scouts, because I see him like drifting in and out of games, but obviously he was only young at the time. You know what I mean? So, but I never see him having a top world-class playing career. I see him having a good playing career. I see him playing for Chelsea. I see him winning a couple of trophies here and there, but I didn't see him having that like top class, like England starter, like absolutely world-class talent that he did. So I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too upset when he left, because I wasn't a big fan of the style of play. But when I look back at what he done for Chelsea, he probably wouldn't have done that for West Ham. We didn't have the same sort of talent around him.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I don't. I would have, in hindsight, would have loved him to stay and have the career that he had for Chelsea for us. But let's be honest, if he had stayed, I don't think he would have done.
There wasn't the players around him to compliment him.
No. This is a good question, Pal. Did you ever cry when a player left us? I actually did when Rio left, as he was my favourite player. I'll tell you something, Matt. I've cried when we signed a few. But no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, when Pint left us, I was gutted, because he was a great player, But I've never really cried. I was gutted when Scott Parker left us, but I think we got the best out of Scott Parker when we had him. There's no one really. I understand with Rio as well, because at that time I was about 16, 17 when we sold Rio, so he was like a big player at the time for us. So yeah, I was gutted. But any use?
No,
I never cried.
I've been gutted when players have left, but never, players come and go.
Cried. Scott Parker was one of the worst ones for me.
I remember I had to console Nicky once on the back of a coach because Paolo Di Canio left.
You what with Nicky?
He had to console Nicky when Paolo won.
Console Nicky. Oh.
All he kept saying to me is, "I love that one Choppio song." That's all he kept saying. I went, "Don't worry, mate."
The most gutted I've been when a player left. I think there was a few, like when we got relegated in 03, I think watching like that, that contingency of Defoe, Cole, Carrick, and all of them leave. I think Johnson as well, because I think we were starting to build a good young squad.
Even the likes of Di Canio leaving as well, and Trevor Sinclair,
yeah, and you're looking at fucking. You're looking at like players like Glenn Johnson leaving and all that sort of thing. And if you had like Lampard and Rio to that before that left the 2 years before that, if you go back to that, you don't go down that season. You know what I mean? And like we had some good players that season. We had some real good players, but it's the same as we always have. We have one or two sort of like real class players, and then we just fill the squad with shite. The likes of like Rigobert Song and TT Kamara, and you think about the strikers we had that year. We had Canute, who went on to have a fucking really good career with Sevilla, and he was only young at the time, so we lost him. We lost him to Tottenham, and then obviously Paolo was getting on a little bit. But you think about, you had Carrick and Cole in midfield, but then you had the likes of fucking like TT Kamara and what's that, Vladimir Labant and things like that. Like just filled with shite. You like when you think about them kids at the time were on such low wages as well. They wouldn't have been on like tons of money, and they never cost us anything. We should have wanted to go out and spend a little bit more on getting like one or two, really decent players to go with them. You know what I mean? Like Canute wouldn't have been on mega money either, because he was signed on loan from someone and then he come in. But then, we had some real trash around the squad at that time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's gutting when you see it. Like, the Bowyer signing never worked out. You know what I mean? Like that was a big signing that season, and it just never worked out for him, because he never. I don't think he ever hit the form that he did at Leeds again.
Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say, Tom's put a good question up here. The Lampard going further in the game with better players is the exact reason why we couldn't begrudge Rice leaving. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I believe he'll go at some point.
It's about how he goes, isn't it? Really, if he, there's a right way and a wrong way.
That's the thing. It's about how any player leaves. If they leave the right way, then you see, no one here realistically in football can sit there and say Rice will stay with us the way we are at the moment. He's got the world at his feet as a young English footballer. He's an England regular. He's got to cement his place, in the England squad and get rid of the competition. And for him, if he sits there and looks at it that way, he could think, well, hang on, to do that, I need to be playing at the highest level. So it's like we said before, if West Ham doesn't match his ambition, then you can't begrudge him leaving, because no matter as much as you love a football club, you want to play at the highest level you can play, because your career is short.
And this goes back to what I said the other week on this show about having ambition. If West Ham, they should be saying to Declan Rice, here's a new and improved contract. Here's the captain's armband. We want to build this team around you, not just the midfield, the whole team around you. Go and take this club forward. He probably will be. If we can keep him for another 2 or 3 seasons, we've done well. But no one's actually asked Declan Rice, have they? He might want to sort of stay at West Ham.
Yeah, the thing is, he has to be so careful, like with making his next move, because it can so easily go wrong. You see it so many times. Promising players, they make the wrong move, they go somewhere like Man United or something, and they're ruined. So he's got to make the right move at the right time. And I don't think for him now it's the right time. Like, he's one of the main players in the team, one of the top players in the team, plays week in, week out. It just makes no sense for him to leave now, if you ask me.
Well, there is. I think the kids, like I said this on. I've done a show the other day with a first 11, and he got in my sort of 11 that I picked overall, because I don't think I include Rio and Carrick and Cole in this list. I don't think I've ever seen a kid as advanced as him at his age. Like you can turn around and tell me, show me all of these comments by people saying he's overrated and all that sort of thing. I've never seen him make the same mistake twice. Never. You know what I mean? Like, and that, and when you talk about big players, like Rio was 21 when he left, and he went to Leeds at the time, who were a big club, who. And he was of the same sort of mould, really. Never made the same mistake twice, Rio. Made a lot of mistakes for West Ham. Don't get me wrong. He was like, I remember, one time when about 97, 98, when we was playing Arsenal, and he let the ball drop in the box. But I never see him let the ball drop in the box again after like Overmars got in between him and scored. You know what I mean? And he never made the same mistake twice, Rio. Then going on to sort of a Leeds and playing like Champions League, got to the semi-final of the Champions League with them and all that sort of thing, playing against like the top players in the world, playing with some of the top players in the world, playing against the top players in the world. His career just springboarded from there. So he needs to get, like, if I was him, if he's going to leave, I wouldn't go to a Man City who's got like 5 players in that same position. Go to someone like a fucking Man United or an Arsenal or someone like that. Someone who can, well, maybe not Arsenal, but someone who needs him in that position, who can play, who can give him Champions League football and progress like that. You go to someone like Man City, you've seen the likes of Rodwell and Scott Sinclair and all that. They just get left by the wayside there because there's so many players to fill that position.
Yeah. This is a great question here. I'm going to aim this one at Graham. Who would win, West Ham 1975 Cup winners or 1980 winners?
That's a tough one. Yeah, I think 1980 would edge it.
And why is that, Graham?
I think it was
Well, I was going to say, why do you think that?
I don't know. I just think the side that we had in 1980 and the side the following season, even 1 or 2 seasons after that we'd built, and
would you say, Gray, that
would you say
that the 1980 team had a bit more, I'll put this, more flair players?
Yeah, I mean, you think the following season, 81, we got to the League Cup final and we took Liverpool, pushed them all the way in a replay in the League Cup final. And at that time, that was when Liverpool, were at their peak. They were winning the league every year and all that.
Okay.
And I say my dad always maintained if we'd have been in the first division in 80, 81, we'd have been up top 5, top 6.
I mean, the
weird European spots.
The weird thing about that day on 1975 is that Bobby Moore was captain for Fulham. And when you watch the old footage of it, I mean, as the teams line up, you just see Bobby Moore lean forward and sort of look at Billy Bonds and just give him a nod, say like, "You all right, Bill?" And it's great, and it's mental. But I've watched both games back throughout years, and for me, the 1980 team would just edge it. But the 1975 team was building for that 1980 team. You had the like Frank Senior, Billy Bonds.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you think the 75 team the following year they end up getting to the Cup Winners' Cup final.
Yeah,
as well. Both very good sides, but I think 1980 was a slightly more round, more complete team than 75. I think 1980 would edge it just for me. But what I'm basing it on is what went after 1980 as well. Like the following season, we won the second division with a record points total for when it was 2 points for a win. League Cup final, pushing the league champions all the way. And the couple of seasons back, up until New Year, like the first couple of seasons back, up until the New Year, we was in like the top 5 or 6. We were pushing up there. But then we do what West Ham do. New Year, come down with the Christmas decorations.
And the thing is, as well, that 1980 team was the last team to win the FA Cup outside the top flight.
Yeah, that's it. And again, like people, I'll go like again the 81. We beat Tottenham in the League Cup.
This is the question, right?
We over 2 legs, established first division side.
When the hell is the next West Ham Millwall game?
When we get drawn in the cup.
Hopefully when they get promoted, because we ain't going down.
Yeah, well, if they do points per game, we'll go down by 0.18 points or something.
They can't do that. They can't do that.
I don't even know how that works. How can we be above everyone and then go down?
I was just going to say the same thing. It doesn't work out, does it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. They can't do that because there'll be so many lawsuits going on. They wouldn't know where to look.
Because aren't they just guessing from your fixtures, going, that West Ham would probably lose that game. They'll probably lose that.
Just go on an average of what you've picked up over the previous 5-10 games, and then just go on what the next.
To be fair, though, we looked at that league table and the fixtures and thought, we ain't getting out of that. So
I think it was, It's if they stop doing the shenanigans in the cup draws, because I think there's definitely some dodginess when, there's so many times where it's like West Ham gets drawn against a team, then the next team after is Millwall. I've seen that quite a bit, so I wonder if there's.
I'm still fucking reeling over the fact that Arsenal haven't had to play anyone decent in the last 10 years since the Emirates taken over it.
Yeah. They always get Shrewsbury at home, and then semi-final they play fucking Leyton Orient.
They got Watford, didn't they? Remember in the quarter-final they got Watford and Watford beat them.
Yeah. There you go.
About that time when the Carabao Cup was on the internet. I'll never forget this, when it was on the internet and all the live stream went down. They come back, they went, we done all the top four missed each other.
2 hours later, this is the draw.
Ridiculous, wasn't it?
Because when it like Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Man United were all in the quarter-final, and none of them in the quarter-final draw, none of them got each other.
None of them got each other. But it was just the way they come back. They went, we had trouble. We done the draw, and this is the draw.
Right, and Andrew Miles.
I think that's when we got Arsenal.
I've seen Andrew ask this question a couple of times. We've missed it. If we could sign any player outside the top 8, who would you have and why? Mine would be Richarlison or James Ward-Prowse.
I'll
tell you what I'd go for. I don't know. Let me think. Are they outside the top 8? I'll go for Torre at Wolves. But are they outside the top 8?
No, they're not fit.
Yeah, I was going to say it's all right. Wolves.
You got to say, do you know what? Just being cheeky, you got to say someone like Aubameyang.
Yeah, that's true.
They're outside the top 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fair to say that, isn't it?
And I do like Torre at Wolves, though. He does look.
But he's in the top 8.
He's in the top 8, you can't have him.
What's his name? Traore.
Traore.
He's good. I'll tell you what, right? When he was with Middlesbrough, my brother was banging on about him all the time. He was going, this kid, he's got fucking everything. He's got pace, he's got power, blah. And we watched him and he was fucking turd. Mate, I tell you.
The thing is, the final ball in was what was letting him down, but he seems to have got that now. He's been a really good player.
If we had the money and we had any chance, it'd be Jack Grealish for me. But
there's a lot of shouts in the comments for Grealish. The thing is, you see Richarlison, and I know you got Everton fan James Dunlop in the comments. But he seems to, he might be able to correct me, but he seems to always start well and then he sort of goes missing for large parts of the season.
He done that a lot for Watford, didn't he? But I think he done it he started off well with Everton and then he had a little dry spell, but then I think he started picking it up and he is a good player, Richarlison. Great player.
He does just seem one of them that blows hot and cold, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's a few shouts for Zaha as well.
That's another one. Yeah, if you go on football ability alone, that's definitely a good one. Zaha,
John McKinn, Aston Villa, another good player.
Pukki, he was another one. He started on fire, didn't he? Ridiculously well, and then just fucking disappeared. It'd be interesting what he could do with better players around him. But
do you know what the funny thing is? There's so many players that do that when they come out of the Championship. They have a real purple patch at the start. And when he scored 6 in 6 at the beginning of the season, I honestly said, right, and I don't know who I said this to, but I said it to someone. I said he won't score another 6, and he hasn't.
one of them, isn't it? It's they once they start believing the hype that's around.
And it's, that's a good one for Nicky.
They're under the radar as they come up because a lot of people don't take them seriously.
Nick, who would you most like to punch in the face, Victor Moses or Marco? Now? I'll tell you what, whatever one you don't punch, I'll kick the other one.
But do you know what? I've got to say Victor Moses.
Wait, Nick, can I just say, have you noticed Graham's pants hanging on his wardrobe?
Nah. Oh, yeah.
He's got his big pants out.
No, I've got to say Victor Moses. What I see him do that day, mate. I forgot what ground it was at, but
Newcastle.
Newcastle. What I see him do that day, mate, I'll tell you, if I could have got to him that day, I would have killed him on the spot. I would have killed him on the spot. You don't do
execution,
that to children, mate.
Nick, can you just explain what happened? Because you saying Victor Moses, if you had got to him, you'd have killed him, and you can't do that to children. He's making him. It don't sound right. So explain.
Clarify.
No, I'll tell you the story. Anyone that never watched the post-match Pint is that we was at Newcastle and we got beat, didn't we, Ryan? We got beat 2-1.
2-1, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it was a fucking long old trek up there and all of that sort of
freezing
stuff.
Cold as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bitterly cold, like bitterly cold.
It was it was the January, wasn't it? Because didn't what was his name? Who was that player? Yelovich? Was it Yelovich?
Yeah, it was Shelby's debut, I think.
Yeah, we made him look like fucking Messi the way he was picking it around.
And it was like we lost 2-1, and he come out that day, and we had, to be fair, we hadn't played bad or anything like that. It wasn't like we were terrible. We were just it just wasn't our day in front of goal, I don't think. And we was walking from we don't have fan cams, and you have to walk like we walked underneath the it's like a stand, and they parked the coach there, and they've got like a little ringed fence around it, and he came. Everyone was coming out, and some of them were just getting on the coach, and most of them were coming over to sign stuff and all of that sort of thing. And he come out, and he walked out on his own, and like the last of them were going back on the coach, so there was no one there, and there was kids out there like sort of shouting at him, Victor, 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 and he come over, like he walked as he's coming down the stairs. He had to walk round the coach. He gestured to go towards the thingy. Went to take a kid's pen and they went, nah, and walked on the coach. Ryan, you can back me up on this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, he walked over towards the kid, like, went to take his pen. The kid sort of like reached his pen out and he went, nah, like as if like he's played a joke on him, smiled and walked on the coach. And I thought, you wonky faced cunt. I wanted to kill him.
Maybe he thought he was being playful and like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, playful.
They was like, I'm not joking. One of them was about 5.
Yeah, they was youngsters.
And that's the thing, though. It's freezing cold, and them kids are waiting around. You know what I mean? They've got a long journey home.
And it was cold that day, man. It was snowing.
If I'd have fucking caught him that day at the fucking services or something, I would have spun his jaw fucking straight. Honestly.
It takes 30 seconds, doesn't it? 30 seconds.
Oh, it wasn't. There was a million people there either. It was about 5, 6.
That's the thing. You've got to take time out, especially for the youngsters, because they're the ones that are going to be going to watch football, you know, for as long as they live.
He's a bit of a mercenary, though, isn't he, Victor Moses?
Yeah, he's filthy horrible.
Cricket Ball TV. Ray Stewart or Julian Dix takes a last-minute penalty. Who you have him? I don't think you can lose. I don't think you can lose on that one.
You can't lose it. I mean, Ray Stewart did take a last-minute one in the quarter-final in 1980. I'll chuck Mark Noble and at Wembley 81. Hey,
I'll chuck Mark Noble in that as well.
I'd be interested to see the statistics.
Ray actually took the last-minute one at 81 at Wembley as well. So,
do you know this? I was looking at a stat the other day because I was doing a quiz. So. To get a question, and it was like West Ham's all-time Premier League leading goal scorer is Paolo Di Canio on 47 goals. Right?
Yeah, that's crap, mate.
And next after that is Mark Noble, and I think he's not many behind him, and then it's Colton Cole. And I'm just thinking to myself, out of all the years we've been in the Premier League, how can only one player have scored 47 goals and still be our record goal?
Wait, there's some players. I think it was like Shearer and sharing them and things like that. We're scoring 35 a season.
I think Rooney, that season when Ronaldo left, Rooney's first season without him, I think he scored about like 40 odd goals.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Kevin Phillips got 40. Did he always know? Was it 30?
Yeah, but what makes it worse?
Rank in 2 seasons.
Hang on, can I just say what makes it worse is Di Canio left 17 years ago.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking disgraceful.
Look at Nicky's face.
Let's be honest.
Well, I'll tell you one thing though: if Dean Ashton would have stayed fit, he would have smashed that.
Yeah.
If you work out what all the strikers we've had since Di Canio, we probably don't even hit 100 goals.
I don't think we've had.
How many players have we had come through the door that we're going, this is our 20 goal season striker?
Yeah. I don't think if you combine all the strikers we've had since then, I don't think they've had 47 shots.
Fucking, that's such a bad. That's got to be like the worst. We've got to have the worst in the Premier League in teams.
Who do you reckon the worst striker we've had?
Mido.
We said this.
He's the worst player I've ever seen in a West Ham shirt.
I don't know, man. TT Kamara.
Nick.
What about McCarthy?
I remember that game when Mido, when he come on and he had his gut hanging over his shorts and someone played him through. When he had his gut over his shorts and someone played him through.
What happened to him?
And he didn't even run.
What's that?
His belly hanging over.
I'll tell you what, right? I'm gonna make a top 5, right? I reckon the worst one I've ever seen was TT Kamara.
Well,
You could balance a glass on that cunt's arse. That's how fat he was, right? Then it's got to be Mido. Then it's got to be Mido, right?
Yeah.
Then I think Benny McCarthy when he came to us.
Yeah.
And like, let's be fair, some of these players are fucking like they've done it before. So I don't know what it is, but and then do you remember who was the striker that we had from Italy?
Mourinho.
The 2 of them.
Mourinho.
No, not him. I can't really include him because he got injured so early.
Not Ticino?
The one that had an open goal versus Liverpool, he fell over. Di Michele.
Oh, he wasn't that bad.
Oh, he was terrible. He was awful. And I'll tell you that the last one, and I'm going to count him as a forward, it's got to be Bo Morte.
How can you not have Marco Boogers in amongst all that?
Oh, mate, Boogers snapped Gary Neville, mate. He's legendary status.
That's got to be the hardest top 5 to do. I don't think you can make it that top 5 because it's been.
Someone said
many.
Franco. I fucking loved Franco.
To be fair, Nicky did love Franco, man.
Fucking loved Franco, man.
To be fair, I think Franco got more goals than some of them strikers you mentioned altogether.
Savio, that's a good shout. I forgot about him. Zaza.
Zaza was, the thing is,
Maiga.
Yeah, there's been loads. I think we can probably name more sort of shit ones than good ones we've had over the years.
Pretty much.
We've had some shit, man. But Mido for me was probably the worst player I've ever seen in a West Ham shirt. And the thing is with Benny McCarthy, I remember when we nearly signed him like 6 years before when Alan Pardew, when we was first in the Premier League, and he was so close to signing, and the deal was almost done, and he was pulled at the last minute, and that was when he was like scoring 30 odd goals a season for Porto at the time. And
I think he scored about 25 for Blackburn.
Yeah, he ended up going Blackburn, and we got him. But the one thing, like, I know we all don't like Karen Brady, but her comment about Benny McCarthy was probably the best thing I've ever heard. When he called her the devil with tits, and she replied, "Well, at least I'm meant to have tits."
The thing is with that, right? I always took offence to that, and it's not because I don't like Karen Brady or anything like that. But I thought to myself, like, when he said, like, she turned around and said he was the worst player we've ever signed. He turned up like 2 stone overweight, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what was he doing when he signed him? Was he wearing a fucking dressing gown or something? And then he took it off straight after.
Tom's just had a good Shamak.
That's an own goal.
And what about him?
Oh, Eddie. God.
We literally could be here all night talking about the shit we've had, couldn't we?
With Nicky on Barmalt, though, you should drive me up the wall, Barmalt.
Oh, he's so frustrating.
And chop the onions off.
Yeah, you said that the other week, didn't you?
Yeah.
What, Barmalt?
I say it was at. Remember when we had Man City in the third round that year, and it went to a replay, and we was around with mates watching it, and they was all going, "Oh, Barmalt's playing." I was going, "No, he's all."
There's loads coming through. Joey Beecham,
Miller,
Neil Miller, David Bellion.
God, I forgot about David Bellion.
Yeah,
Danny Harrison saying Vaz Tay. You can't include Vaz Tay. I thought Vaz Tay was one of the reasons we went up that year.
Yeah, Vaz Tay was a good signing in that. We got him in January of that year, didn't we? And he was banging in goals for Barnsley, and we took him, and he just took us up basically.
God, that Tom Crossland's put. Apparently, we've signed 38 strikers since 2010, and they've scored 203 goals in 957 games.
That's awful, isn't it?
That is awful.
That's bad.
Fucking hell!
Yeah.
I'm going to get on. I'm going to crack open the Jack Daniels with Graham.
That sums up our recruitment under this board, doesn't it? That sums up their ability to sign players.
How can you go so wrong with that many strikers?
Because they always sign them on the cheap.
Yeah, that's shocking. That is absolutely shocking. That's another one.
What's the king of the card?
Cool. Wellington. Do you remember that one? Wellington. Paulista.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm going to have to leave. I'll come back in.
Try and come back in and landscape.
Has that been bothering you, Dan?
Yeah, that's like
I don't
2020.
like landscape. I remember Dan having a go at me once for doing landscape. I've never done it since. It scared the life out of me.
It's all right if you're on Instagram, but this is YouTube. It's landscape.
Standards, Dan. Standards.
Exactly.
Wenger out and most toxic fans. I don't know if he's talking about us, but
that's a bit of irony.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think an Arsenal fan saying toxic fans. That's a.
No, but the irony, I don't know, because he's got the Wenger out as his name, which is sort of bringing light to the toxicity of the fan base. So I don't know whether he's actually an Arsenal fan or not.
There's no competition.
Andrew Miles.
I don't think there's any competition with this one. Dean Ashton all day. Dean Ashton for me is honestly the bloke had everything, and he would have gone to the very top of the game he would have stayed at West Ham. Do you know when I look at Dean Ashton and I look at the way he played and his build, and he would have probably been Man United all day long. He just had that about him. For me, I always thought he was going to end up at Man United, and I remember when he scored that over a kick at Old Trafford, and the fans clapped him, and I think Alex Ferguson at that time sort of thought I need to get him at Man United, but unfortunately he got injured.
That's one of the biggest losses for England as well, for Ashton picking up that injury. You know, he would have gone on to be, I think he would have gone on to be something special, and I reckon he would have broke the English record scorers.
But the old sort of romantic in me with Andy Carroll is that I love an old-fashioned style player that puts his head everywhere, and when Andy Carroll was fit, I mean, that when you look back at the highlights of the last season at the Boleyn, Andy Carroll was unbelievable that season.
Yeah, actually, that was the last.
What was it? The Arsenal game, right? The 3-3, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Ray Chapman. Going back to Dean Ashton, Ray Chapman saying he was going to be the next best to Alan Shearer. I totally agree. He was the same sort of
similar,
build, and the way he played, his style was exactly like Alan Shearer. And it's a shame.
Even when we went Noble's testimonial, we scored over a kick then.
Yeah. And what was he? He was about 3 stone overweight then.
Yeah, he was something special. Ashton really was.
Someone in the comments said that Andre Ayew was crap, but he was our top goal scorer when we sold him. I don't think he was crap.
I think Andre Ayew, he just struggled to settle at West Ham, didn't he? He had a lot of pressure on him because he was a record signing at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? He was like 20 million.
Yeah.
The thing is that he was a poacher, so because he didn't really offer much elsewhere around the pitch.
When he was at West Ham, he couldn't poach an egg. let alone poach a goal.
Mate, what about the comeback against bloody Tottenham?
Spurs. Yeah, he had that one.
Come on.
Yeah, that was good. I was there at that night at Wembley when IU got us back in it and Ogbonna scored the winner. Great game. Great game.
Was that the 3-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never lost to Spurs at Wembley.
Yeah.
Were we watching at the clubhouse?
The rest of us, might have been.
This is an interesting one. Kent Hammers. Pard said Kane has everything, but Ashton was better.
Interesting.
Harry Kane is just a natural goal scorer. You know, but as an all-round player, it's hard to look past Dean Ashton in his. You know, he just had everything, and it's such a shame that his career was robbed. Taken away from him.
Massively, and I agree with you, mate. I think Ashton's by far the better player of the two. His all-round game is better, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just really unfortunate that he didn't go on to have the sort of career that he deserved. To be honest,
Ollie says that West Ham are unbeaten at New Wembley, and I agree. That's why they fixed the FA Cup, because they don't want us to get to Wembley because they know we'll win. I ain't seen us lose at the New Wembley. We've playoff finals and we've played Tottenham there. Was it 3 times or twice?
We won all.
We won all of them there, and we beat him in the cup. So, and then we beat him the first team to win in their new stadium as well. So,
if we can just get there in an FA Cup final, it's in the bag.
Could you imagine West Ham and Tottenham in the FA Cup final?
If we beat them in an FA Cup final, mate.
It's not even about beating them, mate. It's about losing. Could you imagine it?
I couldn't go into work. I couldn't go into work on the Monday.
We'd never really end of that, would we? We'd never really end of that.
Who's worse, Spurs or Millwall as rivals? I think it's hard. I mean, with this one, you go back a few years. Millwall is West Ham's rival, no doubt about that. But with Tottenham, because we're in the Premier League with them, and I think we're not sort of rivals with them, we just like to wind them up like every other club does. I don't think any team likes Tottenham apart from Tottenham. And I'm sure if you probably ask Tottenham fans, they probably don't even like Tottenham deep down.
they're more worried about us than they are of us worried about them.
I don't see. Obviously, football-wise, rivals, we're nowhere near them. You know, they're up there. They're challenging for Champions League and trophies and titles. But for me, it's the fans. I love the rivalry with Tottenham fans because it's so easy to wind up. But for me, it's Millwall all day long, and the games don't come around often. But when they do, they're. I mean, my first ever experience of West Ham Millwall was when me and Nicky went to the New Den when we lost 4-1, and that was a day I'll never forget in my life. It was horrible. It could have been 6 or 7 that day. I'm sure they missed 2 penalties.
Yeah, I did.
And poor old Christian Daly when he scored that own goal.
Oh. That was horrible, man. That was a horrible day. Even down to the fucking burger that we had in downstairs. It was bad.
This is a random one, but a good one. Holy, first, last, best, worst film you watched in the cinema. Let's go for first. Who was your first ever film?
In the cinema. Trust Nicky to fucking remember. He fucking remembers everything.
I remember my first film.
I remember mine. You never forget your first time, Dan.
I have.
My first film in the cinema was Karate Kid 2.
Graham, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. No, it was
Charlie Chaplin.
Lost Ark, Holy Grail.
Scott.
What did you say?
Hey, Charlie got
Rescuers Down Under as a kid.
Dan?
I went to see that.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably some sort of fucking Disney or something, or maybe Hook or something like that. I don't know. Yes.
Mine was Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2, 1989.
I can tell you what.
In the cinema, right? I was meant to go and see Ghostbusters 2 at the cinema, and I played up. And my dad never took me, and I never took the cinema. He got me about 2 weeks later. I was fucking whinging about it, and he's like, "I'm not taking you to the cinema. You played up and all that." He got me the worst pirate copy I think I've ever seen in my life.
Graham, someone just said you was at the premiere of Wizard of Oz.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one of the best. Scott, do you remember? Nicky, you remember it when we turned up to training at Newham and it got rained off and we went, "Oh, come, we're going." Which I think it was like Jackass 2, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
it was on when Nicky was even up in his popcorn bucket.
The last film I went to see was with Nicky and Graham, The Joker.
Yeah,
that was a good film.
I think that was the last one I saw. I tell you, the worst,
the last time I went pictures.
The worst film I ever saw was in the cinema was Rainbow. No one probably remembers Rainbow. It was a fucking god awful film. I saw it.
Rainbows in Hello Zippo.
No. It was an American film in the 90s. It was about basically these kids, if I remember rightly, find the end of the rainbow, and they're able to fucking travel in it and all of that shit. And if anyone in the comments remembers the film Rainbow, let me know. It was in the 90s. But it
sounds like
I'll have to Google this now.
My mum and our friends' mum, they fell asleep. We were just running around the fucking front of the
worst film I've ever seen is probably Sliding Doors.
That was bad.
Or Stargate.
I like Stargate.
You know me, I hate them sort of fucking films, man.
The worst one I ever seen at the cinema, and I remember it was so bad at the time that it was getting like massive rave reviews in the papers and all that, and everyone was going to see it. I swear down, right? I swear on my life, when it finished, someone got on the stage and smashed the screen, like smashed a bottle all through the screen because they was moaning about it so much. That was Blair Witch Project.
That was I remember seeing. I didn't see it at cinema, but I watched it on DVD. Like when it came out, DVD.
One of the probably the best.
The fuss was bad.
It's probably not the best film, but it's a best memory for me because it was Nicky was with me when we went to watch it. It was American Pie 1, and I just remember coming out of that cinema with tears in my eyes because it was so funny.
That was good. That was.
And I also remember going to see Gone in 60 Seconds. And do you know the bit where he's trapped in the traffic and he drives the car up the lorry and clears it all? And I remember everyone clapping in the cinema, and I was like, "What's going on? Like, it's not real." But no, yeah, American Pie was probably one of the best films I've seen in the cinema.
Best one for me was Lord of the Rings. Last one for me was Angel Has Fallen.
Oh, best, yeah, that was one.
And the worst was probably, I've seen some crap ones. Blair Witch.
I saw Independence Day at the cinema. I read the first one.
I don't know why. Some people are digging me out in the comments. Nick as well. Dan, you're special, mate. Dan, have a lie, Dan. I don't know what the fuck I did.
Crossed hammers. I once fell asleep in a dentist chair. What's the oddest place you fell asleep? Well, Nick, I hope that weren't in Euro 96 with Gaza and all that. That'd have been I didn't see you in them pictures, mate. But the weirdest place I fell asleep.
What you back on?
I don't know.
Hey.
I'm trying to think.
Probably in Stoke.
I remember when I was about when I was about 17, 18, I had this job, right? And we had to like stay in a park all night. I was like a security guard, right? And for some reason, I can't remember what it was, right? So we turned up. So my company said to me, like, yeah, you've got to go to this park, blah, blah, blah. Someone's going to be there to drive a vehicle around. So you'd be in a vehicle all night. And it was like December, right? And it was in the middle of nowhere, this park. Yeah. And I remember I went there and my mobile phone ran out of battery after about an hour, I reckon. But it wasn't like it wasn't like a mobile like you got now with all internet and all that sort of thing. It was just like literally to make phone calls, right? And ran out of thing. Anyway, nobody turned up. Nobody. Yeah. And so the geezer with the van had just blown out. So like I can't get a message to anyone. This park is in the middle of nowhere in London somewhere, right? I didn't even know where the fuck I was. By the time like I got there and all that. It was after a concert, so it was like midnight. So all the trains had stopped running by then and all that. And I was stuck in this park, right? And I remember I had to. Oh, it was so cold, and I had a coat, but that was it. Yeah, but it was like, I'm not joking. It was like -10. It was freezing, right? And I remember all that was there was a stack of radios, yeah, and like a stack of coats, and like all the doors and all that to everything was shut, and there was just this big stack of coats in like a big laundry bin thing. I climbed in the bottom of that thing.
Nick,
I climbed in the bottom of that.
Nick, 2 seconds, mate. Is anyone typing on our account?
No, mate.
All right, go on, carry on, mate.
And I had to climb, like it was so cold. I climbed to the bottom of this laundry bin where this big fucking thing was, right? But it was like what can I? It was like that sort of tarpaulin material. You know what I mean? Like it was just something that someone knocked up, and the bottom went through of this thing. So I'm laying on the floor, and I've just stacked up all these coats at the bottom, and I fell asleep in there. And I'll tell you what, right? It was a cold night, and I had a coat on and that. It was so fucking warm in there that I fell asleep, and they all turned up for their shifts in the morning, and I was still asleep when they turned up, and they fucking got all the coats out, and I was just laid at the bottom of this fucking big laundry bin thing.
Okay.
They was fucking like peeling the coats off to take for their shit. And they got to the bottom. It was just going, what's going on? You'd gone home.
I seem to find yourself like when you've had a good drink and you fall asleep in like in the back of a cab or something like that, and boss is waking you up going, "We're here, boss." They're tapping you. You're like, "What's going on? Where am I?"
I was trying to think. I think the weirdest place I was 18. It was my cousin's stag night, but he'd done like one of these. It was like from Folkestone to Boulogne or something. It was an overnight thing. It was like a party cruise thing. And I remember waking up on the edge of the dance floor the following morning. Yeah, so I think that's the weirdest place I've ever woke up.
I think mine was in my secondary school field was the worst. Like in the where you go and do PE and all that shit. We had this thing, like I don't know why, when we was kids, we'd do these things like all-nighters where we'd get some drink and just go out about and hang around and just drink all night. And that's where I end up falling asleep. So yeah, that's the weirdest place for me.
I don't think I've fallen asleep anywhere weird, to be honest.
Neil
you're
Walker,
boring.
I don't fall asleep that often.
Scott don't go to sleep. Scott just plows on through.
The amount of times I've come home,
Scott's a machine.
I've come home from especially O'Neill's and I've bought a kebab, stumbled in the back of a cab, so I'll eat that when I get home. Got home, sat on the table, fell asleep, and I've woke up with my face in the kebab. you lift your face up and you got a kebab and burger sauce all over your face with a bit of red cap.
And the thing is, when it goes cold, it gets all that fat on your face, man.
Yeah, the worst thing is, you have that awkward moment where you look at it and you think, should I? and you have one bite and you go, nah. Right, Neil Walker, best away city you've been to for a night out after the match?
Newcastle.
We don't really. Yeah, Newcastle was a good night, but one good night I had out was when me and Nicky went Stoke away last game of the season. We went to Liverpool the night before and stayed up. That was a brilliant night out. That was I felt so rough the next day.
What does that say about Stoke? Yeah, that like your best city, away city after night, is a city that's not even a city of the team that you went to see us play against. That says a lot about Stoke.
Thing. We didn't fancy a night out in Stoke, so we went to.
I don't even think anyone. I think the people that live in Stoke don't fancy a night out in Stoke.
Just because it was arranged and all that, and I spent a lot of my like youth here, Bournemouth.
Yeah,
when we all. But it wasn't just like. Obviously, when you go to an away city, we don't. To be fair, we don't stay that many times over. But when you go to an away city, obviously you've got like away fans piling in as well. So everyone you see, most of them you know them anyway, and they sort of join your little party or whatever. Or you see people with bars and all that, and have a chat. But we also at the time arranged a load of our mates to come down as well. Some of them don't even fucking support West Ham, but I'll tell you, I'm a bit too long in the tooth for that now. Last time I went, we had a fucking awful time. But Bournemouth, when we went that time when everyone was there, I think it was 2015, something like that. That was a good night out.
Great. Do you remember Newcastle away when we stayed up to watch McGregor and Mayweather? And it was like 4 in the morning, and everyone was singing Bubbles, like, and everyone was just so tired, but everyone just got that second wind and just went for it, didn't they?
Yeah.
We was in.
I can't remember what. Oh mate, it was. What was it? What was it? The place we ended up in to watch the McGregor?
Oh, I don't know, mate. We bought some random tickets for this place because you couldn't get anywhere, could you?
Like $5, wasn't it, or something?
It was the shittest fight I've ever seen in my life. I think the best.
Everyone was like that.
Do you remember that? Do you remember the father and son? They had a fight with each other because he kept getting the words wrong to twist and shout.
I just remember a glass getting lobbed.
Yeah. So oh, fucking hell, mate.
Oh, yeah, that was a long old day. That, and then we lost 3-0, and also that was a long old day.
Terrible game that was, wasn't it? Absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Good night out though.
Yeah, Newcastle is a good night out. Probably one here for me. I'll answer this quickly. Who do you think will win, AJ or Fury? Tyson Fury. I actually had a Tyson Fury t-shirt on before I come on, but I put this jacket on because I was cold because I had the back door open. So, but yeah, Tyson Fury for me. And no one else want to answer that? Anyone? No.
I'm with you, mate.
I'll go with Fury.
Fucking good. I don't know.
Be a good fight. I think it'd be a good fight.
It'd be one to see. I don't know. Apparently, they're supposed to be doing it, no? Well, now the whole situation is what it is.
Here's one here for you, Dan.
Oh yeah,
Brighton's a good night out.
Yeah, I was down there when it was funny enough. Chelsea were playing, and I met up with fucking Louis, like me, Jay.
Food a prick.
What's that?
What? So yeah, he goes back to buy with tofu.
We went out there. Right? We went out there.
Went all the way to Brighton for a bit of meat or something like that, did he?
No, me, Damo, and Jace went there for a night for an overnight piss up, and Chelsea happened to be playing Brighton, so we met up with Louis from Chelsea, and went down to some 80s club, and yeah, got on it. So, but when I went there what's that?
Let's talk about this 80s things that you're doing, man. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
what? Go on. What?
I see you dancing around like Phil Collins.
Yeah, that was. Well, I tell you what. When we went away to this 80s weekend in 2017.
And like me in betweeners, mate. I'm not being horrible or nothing.
Who?
I said it looked like Caravan Club. I always thought it was just fucking singing, and you turn around and there was some old geezer sitting there watching him, nodding.
I did that edit on purpose, right? I cut that couple in because it reminded me of something out of Phoenix Nights. I don't know if anyone here has watched Phoenix Nights. Fucking brilliant comedy. And it was always, you'd have these entertainers on and it cuts away to these really disinterested looking people in the crowd. And it was like, we went all the way to Cornwall for this Trey Lawn Manor, John Fowler thing. It was dead, the holiday park, shit holiday park. Hardly anything happening there. And we went all that way. That's why we spent all our time in our chalet getting pissed because it was just shit. So, yeah.
Tell me, mate, you're going to do an 80s weekend. You got to go Butlins.
Listen, mate, I'm going to have to, I need to chat to you, mate. I'm glad. I'll be talking to you off air, Scott, for some tips.
Right, cross cameras. Weirdest cocktail had. I think I had a dog's bollocks with Nicky and Scott in Cos, but no idea what was in it.
Yes, you did, Nick. You had quite a few of them.
That's the weirdest and most potent I've ever had. Yes. That got me pissed off to see, man. I was off my trot. Do
you remember that mad random weekend we had in Great Yarmouth? And me and you was in that bar, and we asked the geezer behind the bar, give us the best shot you've got, and he went. Yeah. He got us that shot. He opened the fridge and it was like a scene from Back to the Future. All this smoke come out. He gave us this shot. It was freezing cold. So we both drunk it and we looked at each other and thought, what the fuck's that? And the geezer just looked at us and went, give it about 30 seconds. We looked at each other. Both of us went red and we were sweating. I don't know what the fuck that was, man, but that was poison.
What was that one you made? Was it Nick? Was it you or Ryan, the Soul Reader?
Oh, that was Nicky with that.
Yeah.
With that fucking... Oh, it was horrible.
They were quite lively.
You know what? funny enough, them photos come up on my Facebook the other day on my memories, and there's a picture. I'll have to find it. I'll post it on our Twitter. There's Nicky's making a cocktail, but he's smiling at me, looking. He always does that. What about Diablo, Nicky, Mexico?
Nah, man.
That shot with the chili sauce in it.
Yeah.
That weren't good. That weren't good for me.
No,
I
man, I can't do
it. I think I talked about this one before with the old Jason special, which was vodka, Pernod, whiskey, rum, brandy. You can name it all in one glass. Sake.
That doesn't sound like a cocktail. That just sounds like you're going, oh, what we got in the cupboard and just chucking it all in the glass.
Yeah, that sounds like my mum's cupboard at Christmas. With a snowball. And you put it. Wait, what's the other one? Brannigan. Is it Brannigan's or Sheridan's? No, the half black, half white one.
Yeah, Sheridan's.
Yeah, Sheridan's in it. Yeah.
That's an 80s. That's an 80s drink, that, mate.
Yeah, but that one in Kos, they done us this thing called the Dog's Bollocks, man. It had so many measures of different spirits in it. I swear on my life, it was like, I'll never forget. We went in this one bar. He went, "You ever had a Dog's Bollocks?" I went, "No." He went, "You won't be able to drink a pint of it." I went, "Give me a pint of it then. Give me a pint of it." Mate, I tell you, I took this drink. They give me the drink. Mama fucking Fratelli served it up to me. She was behind the bar. Looked like fucking Bobby Boucher's mum. And fucking they tipped on this fucking like
water boy.
Yeah, all this stuff. Then put like a tiny bit of cranberry sauce in it. But I was drinking it. But you know when you're going to walk, when you're drinking it, I was like, "What's in this?" It was like
I don't like that feeling.
All that shit in it. Oh,
I don't like that feeling, man. When you get off.
Bez has got the ingredients of it. I'll have to try and get him to send it.
Mate, tell him never to put that online because that don't sound like a drink I'd like.
It was nice.
That sounds like something you used to burn witches in.
I'm sure the night Nick drunk that was the night that he stayed up all night with us.
All right, let's get back to a bit about West Ham. Chazza Hammer 04, best moment as a West Ham fan. I've got a look.
It's tough to pick like this.
It is tough.
There ain't many fucking good moments, to be honest.
I'd say best moment as a West Ham fan. Obviously, taking away your first game. The playoff final win in 05 was good. When we beat Preston at the Millennium Stadium and the playoff final in 2012 as well. There's loads in there. I mean, the last game at the Bowling was a special moment that if you was there that day, you know, no one can ever take that memory away from you. There's quite a few in there.
That's probably the best and the saddest moment, isn't it? It's the last game at Upton Park.
Yeah, I think Ray Chapman says it as well. Best moment for me being a West Ham fan, being Man United last game of the season at Upton Park. Yeah, that is a memory that with everything that's going on, like with obviously the board and the London Stadium, that's one thing they can never take away from us is that memory of that last game at the Bowling. And it's sad that we had to leave it, but that memory is with us forever. And every time I see it now when they do the replay on Sky or YouTube or whatever, it still gives me goosebumps now when Reed scores that winner because I remember that exact moment. But it's not only the moment, it's the whole day. It's the build-up.
That season had some special moments in it, didn't it? The Ebola header against Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
the last game against Tottenham there, the 1-0.
Yeah. Well, Carroll was the last player to score hat-trick there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was in
Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Good ones. But that has to be it for me now. I think it overrides a lot of other stuff just because it was such an emotional and
just the way it went.
Be a part of.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
This time Graham up. See Graham outside the Bowling last game versus Man United, all on his own, bless him. Do you know what? I'll never forget that day because Graham was texting saying, I'm coming down. We couldn't see him and we was all drinking by the Bobby Moore statue. And all of a sudden, I just looked in the crowd and it sort of opened up and I just see Graham standing there smiling at us. That was Oh, that was I've got a photo on my phone actually of us, all of us at the with the Stella cans. The best picture of that day was the one me and Nicky getting pushed back by the old Bill, and like you're getting pushed back by the old Bill. We just got cans of Stella in our hand, and like it was a great day. So many memories from that day.
It was brilliant.
Someone said, "Who are the rudest fans you've ever spoken to on fan cams?"
Rude.
Rudest, fucking it. To be fair, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a fan. I don't think we've had a rude away fan.
We haven't had a rude one, but the one that didn't take it well was he's a kid that runs one of the Chelsea channels now, and he's just a knob. Like,
yeah, I know he's good.
He just doesn't take things like that well,
mate.
And
I beat him in a rap battle, and I can't even rap.
Yeah, we beat him at thing, and it was like one of them ones where you go outside and it's the referee was fucking awful, like no grace in defeat.
Yeah,
and
I like the way whenever we beat these teams, like London teams, we beat them. They always say it's our cup final.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else to say.
It's your cup final and all that. I think it's a fucking disgrace that they get up for these games and not other games, and just nonsense like that. You know what I mean? And he got done a little while ago doing a vlog on his channel because he was like, he done what them couple of Spurs idiots done the other year when he starts fucking like laughing and joking about Chelsea smashing us 3-4-5-0.
Hell yeah.
Especially when he heard what Martin was in goal, and that's why we fucking beat him. So you know what I mean?
Scott, do you remember that fan cam we done at Huddersfield away when I interviewed him and we had to do it again, and then he got right to the end and he went, "No, stop! I can't do this."
Yeah.
Do you remember? You was going,
up.
carry on. And he went, "No, please delete it." We went, "Yeah, of course we will. Upload."
Thing is, he was doing a right to himself, wasn't he? Went about fan cam.
I just remember Scott going, no, carry on. He started putting the camera in his face.
Yeah, we've had all sorts, haven't we? We've had all sorts, and it's just great. It's good to meet that just so many different types of people that you meet, didn't you? Like, and that's the beauty of it.
You come across so many different sorts of people, didn't you? It's it's the one good thing about doing the channel, especially the fan cams, because you get to meet different people, especially at away games as well.
That's it. That's what it's about, isn't it? Meeting new people, getting different opinions and things like that. It is good. It is good.
And like you say, we might make some good friends at like the people we met and that, you know, and doing this. Mate.
Do you remember your mate's boy at Huddersfield, Gray?
Yeah, that he was really good. He was really good.
Right, you think he was going to win? Did you? Yeah, I went. Well, you didn't.
He's so mean. You were so mean.
He was
really good. He was really good.
He was good. And
when we went up there, right, didn't he? As well.
Hey? Yeah, he come on after. I apologised to him. Then I said he could laugh at me, but we still nicked a point, so I was the real winner.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Any more?
Liam McCarthy says the guy at Palace. I'm guessing he means
Rory. Yeah,
that was funny. That was a good.
He's a good bloke. Do you know what the funny thing is? Right, we was at Brighton the week after, I think, and I was filming, and he came up and he like apologised and everything. I was like, no, don't apologise. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you was obviously enjoying your day out. You had a few drinks, and it was passion.
I just like the way when he's. I don't know if it was his mate or his son come over to him, put his arm and said, "Look, let's go," and he went, "Fuck off."
He's a top bloke though. You often see him dressed up as Ginger Collins sometimes.
Yeah, Rory is a good bloke. We see him every away, especially away games. I don't really see him much at home because we sit in obviously different parts of the stadiums and that. But yeah, he's a good bloke. He's a good bloke.
I remember the guy you interviewed who was only there to see you, and he thought Ginger Collins. Number 4.
Collins is 4, yes.
Number 4, Collins.
You went no.
Number 4 is Collins. Fuck's sake.
Who were the friendliest opposition fans you met on a match day? The ones I met were Swansea fans. Yeah, I think Yeah, Swansea. I've always
Leicester fans a good bunch.
Who?
Leicester.
Fuck off.
Yeah, they weren't fucking that good when they was lobbing money and lighters at us. Bastard.
Yeah.
What game was that then? What was that?
The one when we drew 1-1 there last season.
Yeah, mate.
Oh,
They don't,
I went at that one.
they're all right if they beat you, but they start losing or you're giving them a good game, mate. They start getting fucking. They think they're a massive club now because they've won the league. They think they're fucking bigger than what they are. They they've got this like superiority complex. They think they're the top. They're a good team, but they think they're the top. Friendliest one is, I got to say, Fulham, man. If you score at Fulham, they apologise.
Yeah. If you score away at Fulham, their butler comes out and gives you a cup of tea.
If they score against you, they don't say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah,
they've got like fucking. They got like neutral stands. I've never seen that at football. Never.
I think Everton fans.
Yeah,
Liverpool out there. Well. Everton have been it's.
I mean, you get.
Obviously, until you beat them.
Yeah.
How about that geezer that wanted to fight us on the way back from when we was coming back from City?
Oh yeah, because we beat them 2-1.
He walks up to me. I said, "You think you're cocky, do you?" I went, "No, not really."
I feel like saying, "Calm down, mate. You've won the fucking league. Like we ain't even won the City
Premier League champions."
I went, it's only like, what was it, about 5 games into the season? I went, it's a long game, mate. Like,
fucking.
I went, nah. We lost to fucking Bournemouth last week.
I think Norwich are quite all right. Quite friendly fans. I never had any problems with Norwich fans. They don't ever come across like ourselves. AFC Wimbledon, they were quite nice when we went up there.
That's the thing, though. It's the type of fan you meet, isn't it? Every team's got their nice fans. Every team's got their arsehole fans.
That's true.
What ones you meet?
That's not English geezers going on about you, Dan.
He's that same bloke. It's the same one who was West Ham fan TV. He's the same one who's old school. No, what's his name? JP. He's just the same bloke. He's got time to make so many accounts. How do you have that much time to sit? Because you've got to make new email.
Just keep them in here.
No, it's too late now. He's bad.
Best away stadium you visited?
Stadium.
I think the Emirates is a beautiful stadium. Beautiful.
I like it.
I know it's not the greatest view and all that, but I just love going Palace away.
I've got to say Tottenham.
What, the new one?
Yeah, the new Tottenham Stadium is fucking immense. Like, I got to say that, and I don't find that hurts me. But
yeah,
I went there for an NFL game, and it was very impressive.
Yeah, it's fucking unbelievable stadium.
Yeah, the Emirates is nice. I think the Etihad's a beautiful stadium.
But
I like ones like Burnley. Burnley reminds me a little bit of the old Upton Park before we done the stand.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I like Blackburn. Well. That was quite an old school type of ground, wasn't it? Blackburn.
Yeah.
When we went up there in the cup.
Yeah.
When Ryan reckoned I was doing a Michael Douglas falling down.
Man, you was going to flip that car, man. I wanted to get out of the next service to get a cab home.
Yeah. I think the Emirates is the stadium I like the least. It's probably my most hated stadium in the league. I just can't stand it. It's just reminds me a lot of probably what people would think of ours. That's that corporateness of it. But I like, in terms of sort of modern type of ones, I really like Southampton and Brighton's one, because they've made it look new and modern, but they've kept that closeness and just the way the seats are designed, like the architecture of it. I really like them too.
Stadium Light was a decent stadium.
I like Leicester's ground.
Villa Park, you got to give Villa Park as well.
Huddersfield, that's not a bad stadium.
Very loud in there, wasn't it?
Right. Highbury was a good one.
Highbury was nice, actually.
Yeah,
Highbury.
Filbert Street, that was all right. I like Filbert Street.
Never went there.
See, Jake Hammond, an Arsenal fan, he says that his fans are quiet because we expect to win against lesser teams. But you look at teams, the bigger teams than Arsenal that go there, they'll tell you it's quiet there. Even Arsenal fans will tell you it's quiet there. We've got a massive problem with that. And the part of it's the corporate side.
I think it's a problem with Premier League. I think it's a big problem with in the fact that everyone's sort of expecting and all of that sort of thing. Like there's not many grounds you go to now that are allowed. You know, Wolves are really good. Huddersfield were good, but it's because they've just come back to the Premier League and all that. Give it a couple of more. If they're in the league another 10 years and all that, you'll start to, you know, especially like if they're doing well. You know, when it comes to like teams like West Ham, fucking Bournemouth, and people like that rolling up, they'll just be quiet again. I think it's a corporate, as you say. I think it's a corporate problem.
I thought Brown was going for a piss. Then I thought he was going to stand up and start pissing.
It's also, I think, with some of the older stands, the acoustics are better. Like more modern things that it doesn't hold the sound in like the old stands do.
That's what I like about Crystal Palace. But if you sit over row 25, you ain't got all you can see is feet.
Yeah,
but
it's like watching Riverdance live.
When we went Huddersfield, that was quite loud, wasn't it? When they scored.
Yeah,
and the Riverside was loud and all, wasn't it?
Again, it's clubs that have just come up from the Championship.
It's funny you say about acoustics.
Everyone bangs out about Liverpool's atmosphere. Yeah, Liverpool's atmosphere is fucking fantastic when they're playing Dortmund in the semi-final of the Champions League. When West Ham turn up, they don't make a fucking peep.
Well, when we went there, it was when we went there the other year and we won. It was quiet as anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's always quiet. Always. Chelsea, fucking awful. Fucking awful, mate. I've been watching Peaky Blinders. That's why Chelsea's fucking awful, bad, really bad.
Yeah, that was the door now when we were there, and that was before we were winning.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, but like you say, it's the same. All the home fans always moan like our ground. Our fans probably say the same as their ground. Your away fans go down there, and they, you know, any ground you go to, the away fans normally out sing the.
Matt Powell says, "Can you do a quiz next week? Loser does a forfeit live on air, please."
Yeah, if you want.
I don't know. I think the quiz thing's been sort of overdone. Maybe we might think of something else.
If there's a different twist on it, the thing is,
I think Matt just wants to see one of us suffer.
Yeah. The thing is, I like how Nicky done it.
What can you do? You can do a fucking chili, and I'm not joking. I'm not being funny. I've just seen that Every D eat a chili. I'm not going to eat a chili again because he looked like a right prick. What's that?
I said eating the chili ain't the problem. It's the aftermath.
Yeah.
That's what we got to film.
What pooing?
Film one of us on the shitter. Probably as well. Whoa!
No, that shit can make you really ill, man. It can make you really ill. I don't. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. It's silly.
Nicky spoken.
Yeah, Nicky.
Sorry, Dad.
I'm just saying. But I wasn't saying that when I give Scott one at the end of last season.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Nicky's saying that. He was shoving it in Scott's mouth.
Yeah,
Scott was crying and Nicky was pushing it in, going, shh. Shh. Eat the chili. Eat the chili.
But no, you're right. Not many forfeits you can sit and do indoors.
Yeah, it's hard.
The cinnamon challenge. Do you remember that?
What one?
Yeah, the cinnamon thing. There was that old boy, wouldn't he? He was like, I don't know what all the fuss is with this cinnamon challenge, wouldn't there? And he was like, I can do this, and he sticks it in, and he's like, starts coughing his face.
Yeah, no, that was horrible when I done that. Fucking went all up nose.
That shit can get in your lungs and shit.
Yeah, I don't like being hurt.
I don't really know what that.
Yeah. I was here last week, man. I'll tell you.
Matt says strip to your. I'll take it. That means boxers. Well, I'll be honest with you, Matt. You don't want to see me strip the boxers, mate, because I don't wear pants.
I'm not getting that.
You'll have the old meat and veg hanging out. Don't get excited.
You're a Richard Madeley, are you? Do the old Richard Madeley commando business?
Hey, I ain't wore pants since I was about 16.
See, I found that weird when Richard Madeley came out of it. He was like, "No, don't wear underwear."
No, mate, try it. You appreciate it. Take a week to get used to it. But you
especially when
I
you
don't
wear
like
jeans, though.
Is it liberating, right? Do you feel liberated? This
mate, I feel free.
I don't
feel
like
the wind
it.
in your hair.
Oh, mate, honestly, like
You're
I know
more
a lot-
likely to catch it on your zipper as well.
Nah, mate, you don't.
You're
You
overthinking
learn
it, Dan. You're overthinking it.
Yeah, you learn how to deal with situations like that.
Listen,
It's like being
Graham,
SAS.
when it comes to the nether regions, there's no such thing as overthinking it, mate. You got to be careful with that shit down there.
Yeah, you gotta be careful where you put it sometimes.
Yeah.
No, I'm all right. I know a lot of people that do it. I'm in a club.
The commando club.
If not, I'll borrow Graham's
Yeah.
pants hanging on his wardrobe.
I just wish I'd never had that information. Like all this.
You know
all
what?
this
Though? I'll tell you a true story, and this is a true fact. I did actually wear pants on my wedding day, just in case my trousers split on the first dance. And I was so uncomfortable wearing them. I hated them.
Maybe you're getting the wrong underwear, right? You might be buying. You gotta get the right.
I don't like it,
Getting
mate.
Y fronts or something.
Scott's still got my Marks and Spencer's tie.
What?
Yeah.
I lent Scott me one of me good Marks and Spencer's ties that day.
One of these good ones. It's only best.
Putting it around the house, doesn't he?
Sam keeps on me to give it back to you because she's getting fed up with looking at it.
Wear it next week, Scott, with no shirt.
Nice tie. So I can't. I reckon.
Yeah.
I was fucking drunk that day.
Thank you, baby.
Cool,
I was.
I
didn't notice.
can't believe Ryan interviewed Frank Lampard Senior whilst commando.
Yeah.
Look, there's well, every person I've interviewed, I've been commando. But let me tell you something now, Frank Lampard was swinging as well. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, had a good look, did you?
Someone just said, "Do you remember your first house party?" I do remember my first house party.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, I think most people will probably have that experience, isn't they?
It was a kid from my school's birthday, and he had like a couple of my mates are like, they used to do like pirate radio. I think a couple of them have gone on to work for proper radio stations, and it was like all house and garage. That was the big thing at the time, house and garage. I was probably about 14, 15 at the time, and first time he sort of had a tipple and all of that sort of stuff. And my mate Terry Kay passed out, right? I'll never forget this. And he passed out, and we was over the thingy, and I was like, do you know, have you ever seen Superbad? You know, when his mate passes out?
Yeah.
He was like carrying him, he was like, I'll save you and all this. And I was drunk as well. So I remember I was having a proper good time at this party, and someone's going to me, Terry's passed out. Someone's got to take him home. Terry's passed. And we was kids. We didn't have any money or anything. So I couldn't get him a taxi. So I remember, this is so stupid. I carried him because he was like completely dead weight. And I carried him across the A13. Because we was the other side of the A13. And it was like, we was halfway up there. And it was like near your mum's, Scott, but the other side.
Yeah.
Like it was far away from the crossings and all of that sort of thing. So I flung him, and I remember hanging him over the fence, and I carried him. It was so you shouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't suggest that at all. But I carried him over. I carried him all the way home, and I dumped him down the doorstep, rang the doorbell, and he was about 14. So I run, just left him fucking. Like,
I'll tell you a funny.
Leaning up against the door. And his mum opened the door, and obviously he's fucking tumbled in and all that. And I could hear her shouting, "Who brought this fucking home? Who brought him home?" And I was running back to the party. I got back to the party, and everyone gone.
I remember when my mate, I had a New Year's Eve party around my mum and dad's house one year. Well, it weren't my party; it was their party. I'm just claiming it. But my mate got so pissed, he drank a bottle of rum, and at the time he was about. My mate Toby must have been about 22 stone. He was a dead weight. Right, so my dad we picked him up, three of us, put him in the back of my dad's black cab. We drove him because he didn't live that far. We drove him around the corner. We stood him up against his door, and he started pissing. Right, pissing up his front door. But as he's doing that, I've knocked on the door. And all of a sudden, his sister's opened the door, and he started pissing up her.
I remember that.
And the thing is, he went in. and he passed out and he fell asleep, right? So they just left him there. He fell asleep on the radiator. He's got a big scar on his shoulder now where he burnt himself.
Yeah.
That was fucking funny, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are you doing?
I remember being at an house party and Nicky ended up swimming in a pond.
Yeah. Oh, I was out of my fucking tree that night.
Nicky's mate that night. What was his name, Nick? Not you, wasn't it?
Not he's a prick. I've never forgiven him.
Scott, we're all thinking it, mate. But how do you get your teeth so white?
It's the reflection of the
Bollocks. You've been to Turkey. You went to Turkey and got them done on the cheap.
I wish I could, but no.
They look like they glow in the dark.
I'd love to do that, but I'll be scared I'll come back like Ryland Clark, just like all over the gap.
No, it's literally the reflection of the screen, that's all.
Boys, I'm going to have to go in a minute.
Yeah, I think that's it. And how long we've been doing? An hour and 45. Quite, it's gone quick, isn't it?
Been a laugh as usual, boys. Been a laugh as usual.
Yeah.
I ain't stop laughing. Graham.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
You can do the outro.
Don't make me.
Tell everyone in the comments that you thank you. Come on.
It's been thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please join us again next week, same time. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. One thing left to say.
Hold on, I want to add something before we say that.
Hang on. Nicky's got a speech.
Stole his fun.
I know it's still like tough and all of that sort of thing, and I know that it's like times ain't good at the minute, but like try and keep your chin up and join us every Friday for a pint. We try and last week was a bit negative, I know, because it's getting to a school, I think, staying indoors and all of this sort of thing. And I know, like personally, I'm in a bad situation at the minute, but try and keep your chin up. It will be over, sooner than you know it. And the weeks and months are flying by. I was just talking to my missus earlier on about how quickly the year's gone now and all of that sort of thing. So before you know it, we'll be back to normal and we'll all be back at the stadiums and all of that sort of thing. And I know the content's a little bit thin, but we don't want to just put out content for the sake of putting out content and all of that sort of thing. I'm feeling it. I know that yous are all feeling it, but like everyone that comes and joins us every Friday night, you brighten up our week, and I know the other boys feel the same. So thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah, stay safe and well, everybody.
Go on, right? Do the outro again.
No, don't make me.
Thank everyone in the comments. Come on, Graham.
Do it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Join us again same time next week. Stay safe and well. One thing left to say. Come on,
I've got one thing to say. No, I'm only joking. Go on.